You didn't find this by accident. The call to remember is the universe's response to your silent longing. As your soul begins to stir, ancient wisdom rises to meet you. What unfolds now is not learning, it is remembering. The Sacred Book. Introduction. In the depths of time, a sacred truth has whispered through the ages, carrying on winds of wisdom from one generation to the next. This ancient knowledge does not belong to any single tradition or teaching. It exists as the very fabric of existence itself, woven into the tapestry of creation since the dawn of consciousness. You now hold in your hands not mere words on paper, but a living transmission, a bridge between what you have forgotten and what your soul has always known. These teachings have traversed centuries, preserved by those who understood their power, protected until the moment was right for their revelation. The universe operates through divine precision. Nothing occurs by chance. Your encounter with these teachings is no accident. It is a response to your innermost calling. The questions that have stirred in your heart, the yearning that has moved through your dreams, the sense that something essential awaits your discovery. All of these have drawn you to this moment. This wisdom does not require you to reach outside yourself. It asks only that you turn inward, that you remember what your soul has never forgotten. Within you lies a wellspring of infinite potential, a direct connection to the source of all creation. These teachings serve as a mirror, reflecting back to you your own divine nature. As you journey through these chapters, you will find yourself returning to a truth that has always been yours. Each word serves as a key, unlocking chambers of wisdom within your own being. The parables shared here are not mere stories. They are sacred gates opening to revelations that will transform your understanding of reality itself. This is not about learning, but about awakening, not about gaining, but about remembering. The power you seek has never left you. It has simply waited for you to recognize it once again. The time of remembrance is now. Part 1. The Call to Remember when the Soul Begins to Stir. Chapter 1. The Shepherd's Whisper. Along a windswept hillside, a wanderer named Eli walked in solitude. The grass beneath his feet swayed in patterns that seemed to whisper ancient secrets. As the sun cast long shadows across the earth, he felt something stir within, not a sound, but a knowing, a call that spoke his name in the language of silence. You too have felt this whisper. It moves through your life like an invisible thread, weaving moments of meaning that others might dismiss as chance. Yet in the depths of your being, you recognize these subtle signs as the universe's way of speaking directly to your soul. Just as Eli paused on that hillside, sensing something sacred in the ordinary, you have been drawn to these teachings by forces beyond mere coincidence. The universe does not deal in accidents. Every moment of alignment, every chance encounter, every unexplained pull toward truth, these are the echoes of your soul's recognition. As Eli followed the whisper, it led him to a weathered stone in the earth. Beneath it lay a wooden box, its surface marked by time. Inside, an ancient scroll waited, not by chance, but by divine orchestration. The truth had waited there, patient as the seasons, for one who would heed the call. This mirrors your own journey to these teachings. Like that scroll beneath the stone, this wisdom has waited for you. The restlessness in your heart, the questions that wake you in the night, the sense that something essential lies just beyond the veil of ordinary perception. These are your soul's recognition of a truth it has always known. You have felt it in moments of profound stillness, in the whispers of intuition that guide you toward deeper understanding. The very fact that these words now find their way into your hands speaks to the divine timing at work in your life. Just as ancient masters preserved their knowledge for future seekers, these teachings have been safeguarded through the ages until this precise moment when your spirit was ready to receive them. Now, as you embrace this sacred remembering, let us enter into an ancient practice of awakening. Find a quiet space and light a single candle. Sit comfortably, allowing your breath to find its natural rhythm. Let your gaze rest softly on the flame, not straining, but receiving its light. As you watch the gentle dance of fire, imagine a golden whisper of light entering your heart. With each breath, this light grows brighter, awakening memories your soul has carried through lifetimes. Stay with this practice for several minutes, allowing the light to illuminate what has always lived within you. When you are ready, close your eyes and feel the warmth of this remembering spreading through your entire being. This practice connects you to the same eternal wisdom that has guided seekers throughout time. Let it remind you that you too are being guided, called home to the truth that awaits within. Chapter 2: The Veil of Forgetting. In a sun-dappled attic, Clara's hand brushed against a small leather-bound book, stirring memories as ancient as childhood dreams. Within those chapters lay the pure, untainted wishes of her younger self, dreams unburdened by the weight of the world's expectations. You too carry such forgotten dreams within you. They rest beneath layers of reality and practicality, words that society uses to dim the light of your natural power. From your earliest moments, you knew the truth of who you were meant to be. You understood with the wisdom that only children possess, that magic flows through every breath of existence. But as the years passed, like water wearing away at stone, the world's doubts began to erode your certainty. You learned to speak the language of limitation, to see through eyes clouded by fear rather than possibility. This forgetting was not a failure, it was simply part of the sacred cycle of spiritual awakening. Just as night must precede dawn, this temporary sleep has prepared you for a deeper remembering. In the depths of night, Clara found herself face to face with her younger self, eyes bright with unwavering belief. "Why did you stop believing?" the child asked, voice clear as morning bells. Clara woke with tears streaming down her face, feeling the weight of every dream she had set aside. This moment reflects your own journey of remembrance, a sacred pilgrimage back to the essence of who you truly are. That child still lives within you, holding the truth of your unlimited nature, waiting patiently in the quiet chambers of your heart to be rediscovered. The tears that fall when you reconnect with this part of yourself are not marks of sadness, but the washing away of illusions that have kept you from your power. They are the holy waters of remembrance, cleansing away the dust of doubt that has gathered upon your soul's mirror. Like morning dew dissolving in sunlight, these tears mark the dawn of your reawakening to the infinite possibilities that have always been your birthright. Sacred practice, the mirror of childhood dreams. Take 3 breaths to center yourself. On a piece of paper, write down 3 desires that lived in your heart as a child. Let your hand move without judgment or censure. For each desire, gently explore. What beliefs caused you to set this dream aside? What stories did you accept as truth that were never your own? Let your words flow freely, knowing that in naming these beliefs, you begin to dissolve their power over your present. Chapter 3: The Sacred Mirror. Let me share with you the tale of Walter, whose brushstrokes are painted not just on canvas, but upon the fabric of reality itself. In his solitary studio, surrounded by half-finished works, Walter found himself possessed by an inexplicable vision. His hands moved as if guided by an unseen force, bringing forth a landscape he had never witnessed, rolling hills bathed in golden light, a winding path leading to an ancient stone archway, and a single tree bearing fruit of deepest crimson. The universe speaks through you in ways beyond ordinary understanding. Your thoughts, beliefs, and visions are not mere fantasies. They are the blueprints from which your reality is shaped. Just as Walter's painting emerged from his inner world before manifesting in the physical realm, your life reflects the gallery of images you hold within. This is the law of reflection, one of the most powerful principles governing your existence. Every circumstance you encounter, every relationship that enters your life, every opportunity or challenge that presents itself, these are not random events, but mirrors reflecting your dominant thoughts and beliefs. The world you see is not happening to you, it is responding to you. When Walter discovered the actual landscape he had painted, he understood a truth that has existed since time immemorial. The outer world must conform to the inner vision. Your circumstances are not your reality. They are the echo of your past thoughts returning to you. In time, Walter gave his painting away, releasing it to the flow of life. Months later, he discovered it hanging in a small antique shop, where fate led him to reunite with his long-lost love. This was no coincidence, but rather the natural outcome of his transformed inner vision. By releasing his grip on how things should be, he allowed the universe to orchestrate what could be. You too hold this power of creation, this divine ability to shape reality through the lens of consciousness. Every thought you nurture, every belief you embrace, ripples outward into the vast ocean of possibility, returning to you as the circumstances of your life. Like waves upon the shore, these ripples gather strength as they travel, collecting the essence of your deepest convictions before washing back into your experience with perfect precision. Sacred practice, the mirror of creation. Stand before a mirror in solitude. Look deeply into your own eyes, the windows through which your soul views this earthly realm. With clear intent and unwavering faith, speak aloud 3 truths you wish to see reflected in your life. Speak not of what is, but of what shall be. Let your words carry the weight of certainty, for they are seeds being planted in the fertile soil of the universe. Remember, the mirror before you is but a symbol of the greater reflection occurring in every moment of your life. What you declare with conviction must, by universal law, find its reflection in the world around you. Chapter 4. The Invisible Thread. In the quiet hours before dawn, a seamstress named Sylvia woke from a dream that shimmered with golden light. In her vision, she witnessed countless threads of luminous gold weaving through all of creation, connecting hearts, dreams, and destinies in an intricate tapestry of divine purpose. You must understand that these golden threads are not mere symbols, but the very essence of universal connection that binds all of existence. Each breath you take, each step you walk, each thought you think is interwoven with an intelligence far greater than human comprehension. When Sylvia discovered her grandmother's old quilt in a forgotten chest, her fingers traced patterns that seemed to pulse with familiar light. There, hidden in the fabric's worn folds, she found the same golden threads from her dream, woven into ancient symbols that spoke of connection, guidance, and divine protection. This is no coincidence, for there are no coincidences in a universe guided by sacred law. The threads you cannot see are more real than those you can touch. They pull you gently toward your destiny, arranging circumstances, orchestrating meetings, and aligning paths with perfect timing. As Sylvia followed the pattern in her grandmother's quilt, she found herself drawn to a small town she had never visited. Yet as she walked its streets, Shopkeepers greeted her by name, and elderly women embraced her with tears of joy. The quilt had led her to a place where her grandmother once lived, where her family's story began. You too are being guided by these invisible threads of divine connection. Every moment of synchronicity, every unexpected encounter, every inexplicable knowing is evidence of this sacred weaving. You are never truly lost, never truly alone, for the golden thread of divine guidance connects your heart to all that you need. Like a masterful tapestry being woven in the celestial realm, your path unfolds with perfect precision, each strand intertwining with divine purpose. The universe conspires to bring you exactly what your soul requires for growth and fulfillment, orchestrating a dance of seemingly random events that reveal themselves as perfectly choreographed steps in your spiritual journey. Trust in these unseen connections, for they are the very fabric of your destiny. Sacred practice, the golden thread visualization. Sit in peaceful stillness and close your eyes. Breathe deeply and allow your awareness to rest in your heart center. Envision a thread of pure golden light emanating from your heart, pulsing with divine life. See this thread extending outward, connecting you to every person, place, and possibility that awaits you. Feel how this thread gently pulls you toward your highest good, arranging perfect timing and divine meetings. Know that you are always connected, always guided, always held in the infinite tapestry of divine love. Chapter 5, The Echoes of Belief. In the quiet village of Millbrook lived a retired schoolteacher named Frank, who had spent 40 years shaping young minds while harboring a deep-seated belief that abundance was meant for others but not for him. Each morning he would watch the sun rise from his modest porch, content with little, believing that was all life had allocated for him. You see, beliefs are not mere thoughts. They are the architects of your reality, sculpting the very world you inhabit. What you hold as truth in your heart becomes the lens through which you view all experience, filtering out possibilities that don't match your inner convictions. One autumn afternoon, as golden leaves danced on the wind, a former student named Michael appeared at Frank's door. In his hands, he held a worn notebook filled with daily gratitude lists, a practice Frank had once suggested, though he had never followed it himself. Michael revealed how this simple act had transformed his life from scarcity to abundance, opening doors he never knew existed. The universe speaks through such moments of recognition. When you witness another's transformation, it awakens the sleeping potential within your own spirit. As Frank studied Michael's lists, something stirred in his consciousness, a remembrance of his own untapped power. That evening, with trembling hands, Frank wrote his first affirmation, "I am worthy of more." These 5 words, though simple, held the power to reshape his entire existence. For in acknowledging your worthiness, you give the universe permission to reflect that truth back to you. In the days that followed, subtle shifts began to occur. A forgotten investment yielded unexpected returns. A publisher expressed interest in his teaching methods. Former students sought his guidance as a consultant. The world responded to his new inner dialogue, proving that beliefs are not chains that bind you. They are instructions you give to the infinite. Your beliefs are not your destiny. They are the seeds you plant in the garden of possibility. Change the seed, and you change the harvest. Like a master gardener selecting only the finest seeds for their most precious plot, you must cultivate your thoughts with equal care and discernment. The universe, ever faithful to its own laws, will nurture whatever you plant in the soil of your consciousness, whether flowers of abundance or weeds of lack. Choose wisely, for today's thoughts become tomorrow's reality. Sacred practice. Take a moment now to sit in silence. On a clean sheet of paper, write down one belief that has limited your experience of abundance. Feel its weight, acknowledge its presence. Then, with deliberate intention, transform it into an affirmation of your true power. Write this new truth clearly and with conviction. Place it where you will see it each morning as the sun rises. Speak it aloud daily, letting its vibration reshape your reality. For in changing your beliefs, you command the universe to show you a new reflection of your worth. Chapter 6: The Gate of Imagination. In the hushed corners of an ancient library where wisdom whispers through dusty tomes, worked a quiet soul named Irene. Though she had never ventured beyond the city limits, her mind sailed across vast oceans, painting pictures of shores she somehow knew by heart. You see, imagination is not mere fancy. It is the universe's way of showing you what already exists in the realm of infinite possibility. When you allow yourself to dream, you are not creating, you are receiving. The visions that visit your consciousness are messages from the divine, blueprints of what awaits your recognition. As you shall learn, what appears as mere daydreaming is actually the first breath of manifestation. One morning, Irene received a peculiar package, her great-aunt's final bequest. Inside lay a weathered map, its edges frayed with time. As she traced the coastline with trembling fingers, her heart stopped. There, marked in faded ink, was the very shore that had haunted her dreams. The universe speaks in patterns, in echoes, in divine synchronicities that cannot be dismissed as coincidence. Your imagination is a sacred instrument, attuned to frequencies of possibility that your logical mind cannot yet comprehend. In the months that followed, Irene began collecting images that matched her inner visions, places she'd never been, experiences she'd never had. She created a vision board guided purely by the whispers of her soul. One by one, each image materialized in her life, as if the universe was confirming, what you dare to imagine, you dare to receive. You see, imagination is not an escape from reality. It is a preview of what the universe has already prepared for your journey. When you trust these inner visions, you align with the divine blueprint of your destiny. The images that dance through your mind are not mere daydreams, but glimpses into the infinite possibilities that await your recognition. Like a master artist sketching preliminary drawings before creating their masterpiece, the universe first plants the seeds of your future in the fertile soil of your imagination. When you nurture these sacred visions with faith and expectation, you participate in the divine act of creation itself. Sacred practice, the door of dreams. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Visualize before you an ancient wooden door, carved with symbols of transformation. Feel its texture beneath your hands. As you open this door, step through into the life you've imagined. Notice every detail, the colors, the sounds, the feelings in your body. Let this vision become as real as the chair you sit in. Remain here for several minutes, allowing your consciousness to fully inhabit this reality. Know that what you witness here is not fantasy. It is prophecy. Chapter 7: The Seeds of Thought. In a small village where time moved with the seasons, there lived a gardener named George, whose hands knew the language of the soil. Each morning, as dawn painted the sky in gentle hues, he would venture into his garden, not yet knowing that he was about to discover one of the universe's most powerful truths. You see, thoughts are living things. They carry the same vital force that turns tiny seeds into towering trees. Each thought you nurture becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of consciousness, growing roots and reaching toward manifestation. George's revelation began simply enough. Feeling drawn by an inner wisdom, he started speaking to his plants. "You are strong. he would whisper to the struggling rosebush. "You are abundant," he murmured to the young tomato vines. Within weeks, his garden transformed. Flowers bloomed with unprecedented vigor. Vegetables grew plump and sweet, as if responding to an invisible force. But the true miracle lay deeper than the physical changes. Every loving thought George directed toward his garden was simultaneously nurturing the garden of his mind. As his plants flourished, so did his life. Opportunities sprouted like spring buds, relationships blossomed like summer flowers, and abundance ripened like autumn fruit. The universe operates through perfect law. Your thoughts are seeds that must grow according to their nature. Plant thoughts of lack and watch scarcity spread its vines. Sow thoughts of abundance and witness prosperity bloom. In the neighboring plot, George had long neglected a patch of earth, mirroring the neglected corners of his consciousness where doubt and worry had taken root. One day, inspired by his success, he began tending this forgotten space, both in his garden and in his mind. He cleared the weeds of negative thinking and planted seeds of possibility. "This space is blessed," he declared. "Life flourishes here." To his amazement, this once barren patch transformed into the most vibrant section of his garden. The flowers there seemed to dance with particular joy, as if celebrating the power of transformed thought. Roses bloomed with unprecedented vigor, their petals unfurling like prayers answered. Morning glories spiraled upward with renewed purpose, reaching toward the infinite sky that had always awaited them. Even the soil itself appeared richer, darker, more alive, a physical reflection of the fertile thoughts he had cultivated in his mind. Passers-by would often pause at his fence, drawn by an inexplicable radiance that emanated from this special corner where consciousness and creation had merged into one. Sacred practice. Choose one thought to plant intentionally in your consciousness today. Tend it as carefully as a precious seed. Water it with attention and gratitude. Watch how it responds to your loving care. This is not mere metaphor. It is the actual process of creation, as real as any physical seed taking root in fertile soil. Chapter 8. The Law That Listens. In the quiet hills beyond the city, where stars whisper ancient secrets to those who listen, lived a musician named Mabel. Each night, she would step onto her wooden porch, close her eyes, and hum melodies that rose from the depths of her soul. These weren't mere songs, they were vibrations of truth rippling through the fabric of existence. You must understand that the universe responds not to the words you speak, but to the frequency you emanate. Every emotion, every deeply held belief, sends waves through the infinite field of possibility. Like a tuning fork that causes another to vibrate in harmony, your emotional state draws experiences that match its frequency. Mabel's humming wasn't about creating beautiful music. It was about aligning her entire being with the truth she felt within. Some nights she would hum joy, others longing, but always authenticity. And gradually, remarkably, life began to echo these vibrations back to her. Opportunities appeared that matched the very essence of her songs, as if the universe had been listening all along. In the depths of winter, when snow muffled the world into silence, Mabel sat at her piano and allowed a melody to flow directly from her heart. She didn't try to compose. She simply surrendered to the music that lived within her. The song that emerged was raw, honest, and completely unlike anything she had written before. 3 days later, a producer who had been driving through her small town heard her playing through an open window. He recognized in her music the same truth he had been searching for in countless studios. This is how the universe works. Not through striving and forcing, but through authentic alignment. When your emotional vibration matches the essence of your desire, manifestation becomes as natural as breath. Like a river flowing effortlessly to the sea or a flower turning instinctively toward the sun, your dreams materialize with divine timing when you learn to surrender to this sacred dance of energy and intention. The universe responds not to your desperate grasping, but to the quiet certainty that lives in your heart. Sacred practice. Find a quiet moment where you won't be disturbed. Place your hand over your heart and close your eyes. Choose one desire that lives in your soul, not a wish born of lack, but a truth you know belongs to you. Whisper this truth so softly that only your heart can hear it. Feel the words dissolve into pure emotion, into vibration. Let this feeling fill your entire being. Do this practice each night for 7 days, allowing the vibration to build and strengthen. Remember, the universe doesn't need volume, it needs truth. Chapter 9. The Power You Forgot You Had. In the mountains where ancient pines reach toward heaven, a retired soldier named Harold carried a weight in his heart. Though his uniform had long since been stored away, the feeling of powerlessness followed him like a shadow. Yet within him lay a forgotten truth, a memory that would awaken you to your own divine power. When Harold served in distant lands, his platoon faced a night of impossible odds. In that moment of deepest darkness, he remembered his grandmother's teachings about the light within. Instead of relying on physical strength alone, he gathered his men in a circle and taught them to pray, not with words of pleading, but with the authority of souls who remember their divine heritage. That night, as if guided by an unseen hand, every member of his platoon found safety through what seemed like miraculous circumstances. You see, true power does not come from forcing your will upon the world. It flows from aligning yourself with the infinite source that breathes life into all things. When you remember your connection to this divine current, you step into an authority that transcends human limitation. Years later, Harold sat with his young granddaughter Sarah in their garden. Seeing her struggle with childhood fears, he shared a sacred teaching. "Watch," he said, holding up his hands to the sunlight. "Light listens to those who remember they are made of it." He taught her to speak to the light within herself, not as a servant begging for help, but as a creator remembering their truth. Within weeks, Sarah began sharing stories of everyday miracles, lost items appearing exactly when needed, rain clouds parting for her walking route to school, even her mother's headaches easing when she sent light. But these weren't miracles at all, they were natural expressions of power remembered. Now, as you embrace this teaching, take up your pen and participate in this ancient practice of power activation. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Light a candle if you wish, symbolizing the eternal flame of your divine authority. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to settle you more deeply into your truth. Now write a letter dated 1 year from today. Let it flow from your future self who has fully awakened to their power. Write of the miracles that have become commonplace, the light that flows through your daily life, the authority you carry with grace. Sign it with your name and the words, "In divine power, remembered." Read this letter aloud, standing if possible, letting each word resonate through your being. Feel the truth of it in your cells, in your breath, in your heart. This is not imagination, it is remembrance. This is not hoping, it is claiming. This is your birthright, awakening. Chapter 10. The Door Between Worlds. In the realm between sleeping and waking lies a sacred bridge, where messages from the infinite dance with earthly reality. This truth revealed itself through Eleanor, whose story opens another gateway of understanding for you. Each night, Eleanor's dreams carried whispers from her departed husband, Thomas. Not in words, but in symbols: a white feather, a brass key, an old pocket watch stopped at 3:33. These visions seemed merely the longings of a grieving heart until the physical world began to mirror her dreams. Walking through the park one morning, a white feather drifted down, landing at her feet. Later that week, while cleaning, she discovered an old brass key she'd never seen before. Then came the antique shop window, where a pocket watch identical to the one from her dream sat displayed, its hands frozen at 3:33. You see, the universe speaks in a language older than words. When your inner world achieves perfect alignment, the outer world cannot help but respond. This is not coincidence. It is cosmic correspondence. The veil between spiritual insight and material manifestation grows thin for those who learn to read these sacred signs. Eleanor began keeping a dream journal, recording each symbol with reverent attention. One morning, guided by an impulse she couldn't explain, she drew a simple door on an empty page. Above it, her hand wrote a single word: Enter. She closed the journal, feeling something shift in the air around her. The next day, a letter arrived. Inside was an invitation to lead art therapy sessions at a children's hospital, a perfect blend of her artistic gifts and her healing heart. The door she drew had opened in physical form, revealing a path she never imagined. This is the way of spiritual law. Inner vision precedes outer creation. The symbols that speak to your soul are not random. They are the universe's native tongue, spelling out the story of your becoming. To deepen your connection to this mystical language, practice this ancient meditation of the threshold. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Breathe deeply until your mind grows still. Visualize before you a door, any door that feels significant. Notice its details, the material, the color, any markings or symbols. Feel its presence becoming more real with each breath. Now, with intention, reach out and touch the handle. Feel its texture, its temperature. As you begin to open the door, know that behind it waits a message meant only for you. Step through slowly, allowing your inner vision to adjust to the space beyond. What do you see? What symbols or signs appear? Don't force the vision. Let it emerge naturally, like a photograph developing in sacred darkness. When the message feels complete, bow in gratitude and step back through the door, carrying this wisdom with you. Open your eyes and immediately record what you received, knowing that its meaning may unfold gradually, like a flower opening to the dawn. Part 2, The Sacred Path, Living the Law from Within. Chapter 11, The Choice That Shapes Everything. In the depths of every heart lies a compass that points toward truth, though its needle often trembles beneath the weight of hesitation. This eternal wisdom unfolds through the tale of Eleanor, whose story mirrors the sacred crossroads you now face. Eleanor's small bookshop stood unchanged for 20 years, its shelves holding stories of adventures she never dared to live. Then came the letter, an invitation to manage a prestigious library across the ocean. The offer promised everything she secretly yearned for, yet threatened everything she knew. When you stand at such a threshold, understand that the universe speaks through the quickening of your pulse, through the whispers that keep you awake at night. Each choice carries an energy signature that ripples through the fabric of creation. Your hesitation is not weakness. It is the sacred pause before transformation. Eleanor spent days weighing pros and cons, seeking advice, searching for signs. But wisdom rarely arrives through logic alone. One evening, holding an ancient coin between trembling fingers, she decided to let fate choose. As the coin spun through the air, time seemed to slow, and in that suspended moment, her heart spoke clearly. Before the coin landed, she knew. She'd been hoping for heads, for change, for courage. You see, the soul's knowing precedes all external confirmation. The coin was never meant to decide. It was a mirror reflecting what Eleanor already knew. This is the deeper truth about choice. Your heart has already chosen. Your task is not to make the decision, but to align with the wisdom already present. When you find yourself torn between paths, remember that indecision is a form of decision, a choice to remain in the energy of uncertainty. Every moment invites either alignment or avoidance. The universe responds not to your thoughts about a choice, but to the energy you hold while making it. To access this deeper wisdom, practice this ancient ritual of sacred decision. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Light a candle if you wish, creating a sacred container for truth. Close your eyes and breathe deeply, allowing your thoughts to settle like leaves after a wind. Now hold your question in your heart. What choice would I make if I already trusted everything would align? Don't search for the answer. Let it arise naturally from the silence. Feel the subtle shifts in your body, the gentle pull of your spirit. Trust that in this moment of pure presence, your highest wisdom is already speaking. Chapter 12. The Language of Energy. In the quiet corners of existence, there dwells a language more ancient than words, the silent symphony of energy that orchestrates all of creation. This truth reveals itself through the story of Roy, whose fingers dance across piano strings, teaching us the deeper melody of manifestation. Roy lost his sight as a child, but in that darkness, he discovered light's hidden song. Each morning he enters his workshop, greeting every piano by name, his hands moving with the tenderness of a parent touching a sleeping child. "You're holding tension today," he whispers to a grand piano, his fingers detecting microscopic variations in vibration that most tuners would miss. Through Roy's touch, pianos don't simply play, they sing. The universe operates much like Roy's workshop. It responds not to the words you speak, but to the energy you emanate. Your thoughts and feelings create vibrations that ripple through the quantum field, attracting experiences that match their frequency. When you understand this, you realize that manifestation is not about asking, it's about becoming. One autumn evening, Roy sat on a busy street corner, humming a melody that had visited him in meditation. The tune carried no words, yet it held the essence of pure joy. A woman passing by stopped suddenly, her eyes wide with recognition. "That song," she gasped. "I heard it in my dream last night." Their meeting led to a profound friendship, proving that energy knows no boundaries of time or space. Your energy is always broadcasting, creating ripples in the invisible sea of possibility. Every thought, every emotion, every belief sends waves through the universe, drawing back experiences that resonate with your inner frequency. Like Roy's pianos, your life responds to the subtle vibrations you offer. This eternal dance between your inner state and outer reality follows ancient laws as precise as mathematics, yet as fluid as music. When you smile, the world smiles with you, not merely as a poetic expression, but as a manifestation of the vibrational harmony you create. Those who have mastered this art understand that their entire being acts as a tuning fork, setting the tone for all that flows into their experience. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing your awareness to turn inward. Feel the current song of your energy, Is it a melody of worry, a rhythm of excitement, a harmony of peace? Notice without judgment. Now choose a new emotion to embody. Perhaps it's abundance, love, or serenity. Let this feeling flow through you like music, filling every cell. Maintain this vibration for several minutes, knowing the universe is already responding to your new frequency. Chapter 13, The Flame of Worthiness. In the depths of your being lies a truth so radiant it outshines every doubt you've ever known. Let us explore this wisdom through the tale of Dorothy, whose journey mirrors the sacred dance between fear and divine purpose. Dorothy sat alone in her garden, watching decades of her writing turn to ash. Page after page, story after story, each manuscript fed to the flames because a voice within whispered they weren't worthy. You know this voice. It speaks in the language of limitation, of not enough, of who am I to dream so boldly. The universe operates through an immutable law. Your experience reflects your beliefs about your own worth. When you dim your light, the world mirrors that dimness back to you, not because you lack brilliance, but because you've forgotten how brightly you're meant to shine. Months after Dorothy's burning ritual, her granddaughter discovered a forgotten manuscript in an old drawer. Those chapters, saved by chance or divine intervention, carried words that would touch thousands of lives. The book's success wasn't a miracle. It was evidence of Dorothy's innate power, finally allowed to express itself through the pure faith of her granddaughter. Your worthiness is not something to achieve. It is your natural state. Like a diamond buried in earth, it exists whether or not you've uncovered it. Every time you question your value, remember, the universe placed its essence within you. How could you ever be unworthy of expressing what the divine has already declared you are? In the depths of night, Dorothy dreamed of a golden flame burning in her chest, its radiance pulsing with the rhythm of creation itself. It spoke without words, showing her that even as she burned her stories, she could never destroy her divine spark, the eternal light placed within her soul by the universe itself. She woke with tears streaming down her face, finally understanding that her worth had never depended on external validation. Like countless seekers before her, she had searched outside herself for what had always dwelled within, waiting to be recognized. That sacred flame would guide her toward her destiny, illuminating the path that had always been meant for her alone. Sacred practice. Stand before a mirror in the quiet hours of morning or evening. Place your hand over your heart and look deeply into your own eyes. Speak these words with the authority of your soul. I am enough because I exist. Let the truth of these words wash through you. Repeat this daily until you feel the resistance dissolve and your inner light begins to shine unhindered. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14, The Sacred Pause. In the depths of time lies a sacred rhythm, beating beneath the surface of all things. Let me share with you a truth that emerges from the spaces between moments. Martin spent 40 years measuring time, his skilled hands bringing life back to countless timepieces. Each clock that passed through his workshop marked the steady march of seconds, minutes, hours. Yet one morning, as sunlight filtered through his dusty workshop windows, he set down his tools and simply listened. Between each tick and each tock lived something extraordinary, a presence that defied measurement. In those infinite spaces of silence, Martin discovered the heartbeat of the universe itself. You too have felt these moments when time seems to pause and eternity whispers through the stillness. The universe speaks not in the noise but in the quiet. Just as the space between your thoughts holds more wisdom than the thoughts themselves, the pause between each breath contains more power than any action. This is where divine alignment dwells, in the sacred stillness that exists beyond time's measured march. One evening, as shadows lengthened across Martin's workshop floor, an antique grandfather clock suddenly chimed at an impossible hour. The sound rang out clear and true, though its hands pointed to neither the hour nor the half. In that mysterious moment, Martin understood. Time was not his master, but a gateway to deeper knowing. That very night he received news that would alter the course of his life, as though the clock's unmeasured chime had carved a doorway through ordinary time into extraordinary possibility. This moment waits for you as well. Between the ticking of your own thoughts, between the rhythms of your busy life, there exists a space of pure potential. Here, in the silence, the universe offers its clearest guidance. In this sacred pause, you stand at the threshold of infinite possibility, where the whispers of divine wisdom become audible to those who learn to listen. Just as Martin discovered his gateway through the mysterious chiming of an ancient timepiece, your own portal to higher understanding awaits in the spaces between moments, in that precious stillness where time itself seems to hold its breath. Sacred practice. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. For 5 minutes, simply observe your breath, not controlling, only witnessing. Notice the spaces between your thoughts, like the silence between clock ticks. When thoughts arise, neither chase nor resist them. Let them pass like clouds across a vast sky. In the stillness between thoughts, listen. The universe speaks in this sacred space, offering wisdom that transcends time itself. Chapter 15, The Shadows That Teach. In the depths of every wound lies a sacred teaching, waiting to transform pain into power. Let me share with you a truth that emerges from the shadows of our deepest struggles. Virginia moved through the hospital corridors like a ghost, tending to others while avoiding her own reflection. Each patient represented a chance to heal what she could not face within herself. Then one morning, an elderly woman grasped her hand and began telling a story, Virginia's story, though they had never met. Every detail matched: the loss, the shame, the running away. Yet in the patient's eyes shone not despair, but peace. Your pain is not a punishment from the universe. It is a doorway to deeper understanding. What you resist will persist, but what you embrace transforms. The shadows you run from are not your enemies. They are teachers draped in darkness, holding gifts of wisdom that light alone cannot provide. When Virginia finally stopped running, she found herself in an ancient forest at dusk. Her shadow stretched before her, massive and dark against the trees. She raised her hand to shield her eyes from the setting sun and watched as her shadow did the same, a dance of light and dark, each depending on the other. In that moment she understood. Her shadow could only exist because light was present. Her pain could only be felt because she had known love. This truth awaits you now. Wholeness does not come from erasing the dark parts of your story, but from bringing them into the light of understanding. Your shadows are not flaws in your design. They are essential parts of your completeness. Like the ancient sages who sought wisdom in both the brilliance of day and the mysteries of night, you must learn to embrace the full spectrum of your being. The darkness within you holds secrets that the light alone cannot reveal, teaching you depths of compassion and strength that only emerge when you dare to look into your own shadows with loving acceptance. Sacred practice. the letter of integration. Find a quiet moment as the day draws to a close, light a candle, and in its gentle glow, write a letter to a past version of yourself, one you have tried to forget or deny. Begin with these words: I see you now. Let compassion flow through your pen. Acknowledge the pain this part of you carried. Honor the strength it took to survive. End your letter with a truth you know now that you wish you could have shared then. When finished, place your hand over your heart and whisper, all of me is welcome here. All of me is needed here. All of me is sacred here. This is not just an exercise, it is an act of sacred reunion with parts of yourself that have waited lifetimes to be reclaimed. Chapter 16. The Sacred Symbols. Throughout the ages, symbols have whispered their wisdom to those who learned to listen. At this moment, you stand at the threshold of understanding their sacred language. A painter named Luther spent his days creating landscapes that seemed to emerge from somewhere beyond his conscious mind. Each morning, he would wake to find his dreams had left traces of recurring images: golden keys floating in twilight, white birds ascending through mist, perfect circles rippling across still waters. These symbols began appearing not just in his art, but in the world around him. A key-shaped cloud at sunset, a circular pattern in his morning coffee, birds arranged in mysterious formations. The universe speaks not in words, but in the timeless language of symbols. These sacred signs bypass the analytical mind, speaking directly to the soul that remembers their meaning. When you notice recurring symbols, you glimpse the divine attempting to guide you. Every symbol carries an energy, a frequency that resonates with ancient truth. Luther noticed that whenever he painted intuitively without planning, these symbols would emerge on their own. One evening, he found himself painting an ornate golden gate, its pillars wrapped in vines, though he had never seen such a gate before. 3 days later, while walking an unfamiliar path, he came upon that exact gate. Every detail matched his painting, down to the pattern of leaves on the vines. As he stood before it, understanding dawned. His art hadn't merely imagined the gate, it had foretold its appearance in his life. This is the way of sacred alignment. The symbols that appear in your awareness are not random. They are messages from your higher self, showing you the path of alignment. When you begin to recognize these patterns, life itself becomes a canvas of meaningful signs, each one guiding you toward your highest good. Like ancient wayfarers who followed the stars to their destination, you too are being led by these divine markers. Every symbol that manifests in your consciousness carries a specific vibration, a sacred frequency that resonates with the deepest truths of your being. As you attune yourself to these mystical guideposts, you will find that the universe speaks to you in an ever-unfolding language of synchronicity, leading you step by step toward your destined path. Sacred practice, the symbol of alignment. Find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Allow your breath to become slow and steady. Ask your inner wisdom to show you a personal symbol of alignment, one that represents your connection to divine truth. This might appear as a shape, a color, an object, or a pattern. Trust whatever emerges. Once you receive your symbol, create or find a physical representation of it. Place this symbol where you will see it daily, perhaps on your desk, by your mirror, or near your bed. Each time you notice it, pause and remember, you are in constant dialogue with the universe. Your symbol is a sacred reminder of this eternal connection. Let this symbol become an anchor of alignment, a bridge between the seen and unseen realms of your life. Through it, you acknowledge the divine language that speaks through all things. Chapter 17. The Mystery of Delay. In the dimly lit corners of a small jazz club, Miriam sang her heart out night after night, her soulful voice carrying dreams yet to manifest. For 15 years, she watched younger performers rise to stardom while she remained in the shadows of local venues. Yet within those waiting years, something extraordinary was taking shape. You see, what appears as delay in your life often serves as divine incubation. Each moment of waiting carries purpose, preparing the soil of your soul for what is to come. Nothing is ever truly delayed. It simply ripens in the perfect timing of the universe. In those 15 years, Miriam mastered not just her craft, but the art of touching hearts. She learned to read audiences, to heal through sound, to transmute pain into beauty. Each seemingly stagnant moment was actually movement in disguise, each disappointment a hidden blessing that deepened her gift. One evening, after a particularly quiet performance, Miriam finally surrendered. "Universe," she whispered, "I release my timeline. I trust your timing." The very next morning, a letter arrived. An invitation to perform at an international peace conference where her voice would touch thousands of hearts ready to awaken. This truth echoes through the ages. What you perceive as delay is often divine design. The universe operates on sacred architecture of timing, where every moment of waiting serves to strengthen the foundation of what is to come. When you resist the timing, you resist the perfection of your unfolding. Like a master weaver at the cosmic loom, the universe interlaces each thread of experience precisely when it will create the most beautiful pattern in the tapestry of your life. Those who have walked this path before you understood that patience is not passive waiting, but active alignment with the divine order of creation. Trust in this sacred timing, for it carries wisdom far beyond the limited scope of human planning. Sacred practice, the wisdom of waiting. Find a quiet moment with your journal. Draw 3 columns on a page. In the first column, list 3 situations in your life where you feel delayed or held back. In the second column, write down every skill, insight, or strength you've gained during this waiting period. In the third column, allow yourself to imagine how these gained qualities might be preparing you for something greater than you initially envisioned. Sit with each delay and whisper, "I trust the sacred timing of my life. Everything arrives precisely when my soul is ready." Chapter 18, The Field of Surrender. In the golden fields of harvest time, a farmer named Gordon stood watching his withering crops with worry etched deep in his weathered face. Day after day, he exhausted every method known to him. Advanced irrigation systems, expensive fertilizers, countless hours of labor. Yet his beloved fields continued to fade beneath the relentless sun. You must understand that control is but an illusion, a veil that obscures the greater wisdom at work in your life. When you grip too tightly to outcomes, you constrict the very flow of abundance seeking to reach you. One evening, as shadows lengthened across his barren fields, Gordon fell to his knees. In that sacred moment of surrender, he released his desperate hold on results. With tears streaming down his face, he simply blessed the land, acknowledging its wisdom beyond his understanding. That very night, clouds gathered and life-giving rain soaked the parched earth. This truth speaks through the ages. Surrender is not defeat, it is divine alignment. When you release your grip on how things must unfold, you open yourself to the infinite wisdom of the universe. Your surrender becomes an invitation for miracles. In the depths of night, Gordon dreamed of standing in his fields, his hands opened wide, releasing seeds into the wind. These seeds danced on invisible currents, settling in places he never would have chosen. When spring arrived, Those scattered seeds flourished in unexpected patterns more beautiful than any he could have planned. Your life mirrors this wisdom in ways both subtle and profound, where you cling to control. Desperately holding on to your plans and expectations, you limit the vastness of what could be. You build walls around your potential, unknowingly blocking the infinite possibilities that await. Your surrender is not weakness. It is your greatest power, a divine strength that flows from the depths of your being. It signals to the universe your trust in its perfect orchestration, your willingness to allow a higher wisdom to guide your path. In this sacred release, you become a vessel for miracles, a channel through which the universe's boundless grace can flow. Sacred practice. The release ritual. Take a piece of paper and write down your deepest desire. Hold it in your hands and feel the weight of your attachment to how it must manifest. Now, with reverence and trust, either burn this paper safely or bury it in the earth. As you watch it transform or return to the soil, say these words: I release the how, trusting in divine timing and wisdom. This ancient practice helps you embody the power of sacred surrender. Chapter 19. The Ritual of Alignment. In the soft light of dawn, a bookbinder named Marjorie struck a match, its flame dancing in the stillness. With reverence, she lit her white candle and spoke the words that would become her daily consecration. Let my day be sacred. Through your hands flows the power to transform ordinary moments into divine encounters. Each ritual you create becomes a bridge between worlds, connecting you to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all of life. As days turned to weeks, Marjorie's simple practice began weaving golden threads through every hour. Books that needed repair found their way to her workshop at precisely the right moment. Customers arrived bearing stories that touched her soul. Even the sunlight seemed to fall differently across her workbench, illuminating hidden beauties in the leather and thread. The universe responds not to complexity but to consistency. When you dedicate even one moment of your day to sacred alignment, you tune your entire being to a higher frequency. Like a radio finding its station, your life begins to broadcast on the wavelength of grace. Yet there came a week when Marjorie's morning ritual slipped away, lost in the rush of deadlines and demands. The rhythm of her days grew discordant. Chapters fell out of sequence, threads tangled without cause, and the usual flow of synchronicity seemed to run dry. She felt disconnected, as though speaking a different language than the universe itself. Upon returning to her practice, lighting that single flame with intention, the world shifted back into harmony like a compass finding true north. The sacred act of presence, no matter how brief, restored the delicate balance between spirit and matter. Within hours, a rare manuscript she'd been seeking for months appeared unexpectedly on her doorstep, delivered by a courier who had somehow found the right address despite a miswritten label. The universe had conspired to bring this treasure to her at precisely the right moment. The message was clear. Ritual is not superstition, but attunement, a conscious calibration of your being to the infinite wisdom that orchestrates all of creation. Sacred practice. Choose one simple action to perform each morning as the sun rises. It might be lighting a candle, touching the earth, or raising your hands to the sky. Speak words that resonate with your soul's deepest truth. Let this moment be your daily consecration, your sacred agreement with the universe. Perform this ritual for 21 days, observing how your life begins to align with divine timing. Chapter 20. The Oracle's Silence. In a bustling city where voices clashed and clamored, Edgar sat before his microphone each morning, filling the airwaves with words. His voice had carried thousands through their dawns, yet inside him grew a void that no sound could fill. The moment your inner truth falls silent, a greater voice begins to whisper. This principle echoes through the ages, written in the sacred texts of every tradition. When you empty yourself of noise, you become a vessel for divine wisdom. One morning, Edgar opened his mouth to speak, but no sound emerged. His voice had vanished, not through illness or strain, but through what mystics call the sacred emptying. In that startling silence, something extraordinary began to unfold. At first, the silence felt like exile. Yet as days passed, Edgar noticed subtle shifts in his awareness. In the spaces between thoughts, a different kind of voice emerged, one that spoke without sound, that knew without learning. This voice carried wisdom that his own voice never could. Through stillness, you discover that true guidance doesn't shout, it resonates. The universe speaks in whispers, in gentle nudges, in the quiet certainty that rises when the mind grows still. When Edgar's voice finally returned, it carried a new quality. He spoke less frequently, but with greater impact. His words now emerged from that deeper well of silence, and listeners found themselves transformed not by the volume of his speech, but by the truth it carried. One morning, a caller shared how Edgar's brief response to her question had shifted the course of her life. "Your words," she said, "they weren't just words, they were light." This is the power of aligned speech. When your voice becomes a channel for divine wisdom, every word carries the weight of truth. You need not fill every silence. You need not know every answer. You need only listen deeply enough to hear what wants to be spoken through you. In those sacred moments of surrender, when you release the need to control the flow of wisdom, you become a clear vessel through which universal truth can emerge. Your words take on a luminous quality, touching hearts and awakening souls not through clever rhetoric but through the unmistakable resonance of authenticity. This is how you become a beacon of light for others, not by seeking to shine, but by allowing the eternal flame of truth to illuminate your speech. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit in complete silence for 20 minutes. Make no requests. Ask no questions. Simply listen. Notice the thoughts that arise and let them pass like clouds. Beneath them flows a deeper current of wisdom. Let your breath become subtle, your mind quiet. The voice of truth will rise naturally in this space, like a spring bubbling up from ancient depths. This is not a practice of doing. It is a practice of allowing. The wisdom you seek has always been speaking. Now you create the silence in which to hear it. Part 3, The Return to Power. You are the miracle. Chapter 21. The Alchemist's Heart. In a small workshop lined with the gentle ticking of countless timepieces, Calvin bent over his workbench, his weathered hands moving with practiced precision. Each broken watch that found its way to him carried more than springs and gears. It held moments of someone's life suspended in stillness. You see, the art of transformation lies not in forcing change, but in recognizing the sacred potential within what appears broken. Just as a watchmaker sees beyond tarnished metal to the perfect mechanism waiting to emerge, you too must learn to perceive the divine wisdom hidden within your challenges. When you bring a timepiece to stillness, examining each component with loving attention, you begin to understand its nature. So too must you approach your own wounds and struggles, not as barriers to overcome, but as raw materials for spiritual alchemy. Calvin discovered this truth gradually as he noticed how people changed when their watches began ticking again. A widow whose husband's pocket watch had stopped the day he passed found healing when its hands began moving once more. A young man's grandfather's timepiece, restored to life, gave him courage to pursue his dreams. Through Calvin's gentle work, people weren't just reclaiming time, they were reclaiming themselves. In the depths of winter, Calvin created something unprecedented, a clock that moved counterclockwise. The townspeople gathered to watch in wonder as its hands traced backward through the hours. Time isn't a prison, Calvin told them. It's a canvas for reinvention. This truth beckons to you now. Every scar you carry, every disappointment you've endured, contains hidden gold. These are not mere memories to be endured, but sacred materials waiting to be transformed through your conscious awareness. Like an alchemist of old transmuting base metals into precious elements, you possess the divine power to reshape your past experiences into stepping stones of wisdom. Each wound holds within it a seed of understanding. Each setback conceals a lesson that, once realized, will illuminate your path forward. The universe has planted these treasures within your journey, knowing that when you were ready, you would discover their profound purpose in the grand tapestry of your existence. Sacred practice, the alchemy of memory. Sit in quietude with paper and pen. Bring to mind one memory that has caused you pain. Write it down with complete honesty. Now, with the patience of a master craftsman, examine this memory for the gifts it secretly bestowed. What strength did it forge in you? What wisdom did it unveil? What compassion did it awaken? Write these treasures down, transmuting what once was lead into pure gold through your recognition of its sacred purpose. Chapter 22, The Light You Carry. In a small village among rolling hills, Beatrice moved through her days with quiet grace, bringing new souls into the world. Her hands knew the sacred dance of welcoming life, yet she never realized the deeper truth of her calling until that transformative evening. You see, your true impact in this world flows not from your actions, but from the light you carry within. Just as a candle needs no permission to shine, your inner radiance naturally touches all it encounters. One autumn evening, Beatrice sat beside Thomas, an elderly man in his final hours. As she held his hand, offering simple comfort, he opened his eyes and whispered, "You helped birth me too." Confused, she reminded him that she hadn't been present at his birth 8 decades ago. He smiled and said, "No, you helped birth who I am now in these moments. Your presence awakened something in me I had forgotten." This truth echoes through the ages. Your being shapes reality more powerfully than your doing. When you align with your inner light, you become a living catalyst for transformation in others. In the bustling marketplace weeks later, Beatrice entered the baker's shop where 2 merchants were locked in a heated argument. Their faces were flushed with anger, fists clenched, as harsh words filled the air. As she crossed the threshold, their voices fell silent. The tension dissolved, not through her intervention, but through her mere presence, like morning mist dispersing in golden sunlight. The merchants looked at each other, their anger forgotten, and soon shared bread together, breaking it between them as though they had never quarreled. Such is the power of a soul aligned with truth. It creates ripples of peace without uttering a single word. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space with a mirror. Stand before it and close your eyes. Breathe deeply and imagine pure light filling your body from within. See this radiance growing stronger with each breath until you overflow with golden warmth. Open your eyes and observe this glow surrounding your reflection. Now envision everyone you'll meet today being bathed in this same light. Know that your presence alone carries this transformative power. Practice this visualization each morning, remembering that your being is your greatest gift to the world. Chapter 23, The Sacred Yes. In the quiet hours before dawn, when the world still dreams, A postman named Henry sorted through his daily letters. Among the countless envelopes destined for others, he discovered one addressed to himself, unmarked by postage or return address. The paper felt warm beneath his fingers, as though it carried its own light. You hold within yourself countless unopened invitations from the universe. Each moment presents a choice: to remain in comfortable shadows or step into the light of your true potential. Henry's hands trembled as he opened the mysterious envelope, finding only these words: "Say yes to the thing you fear the most." The universe speaks in whispers and signs, but when you're ready to hear its message, it appears with unmistakable clarity. That which causes your heart to quicken with fear often carries the seeds of your greatest transformation. Fear is not a wall, it is a gateway. Each time you say yes, despite your trembling, you activate divine forces that have waited lifetimes to serve your highest good. Your yes is a key that unlocks doors you never knew existed. One evening, walking past the community center, Henry noticed a flyer for a poetry group. His heart raced. He had always written verses in secret, too afraid to share them with anyone. The same whisper that brought him the letter now urged him forward. Despite his racing pulse, he walked inside. That single yes created ripples through time. Henry discovered not just his voice, but his gift for touching hearts through spoken word. Soon he was speaking at events, inspiring others to embrace their hidden talents. One act of courage had unleashed a cascade of divine alignment. In those moments when he stood before crowds, his words flowing like a sacred river, Henry understood that his earlier fears had been preparing him for this purpose all along. Each poem he had written in solitude, each moment of doubt he had endured, had been refining his spirit for this greater calling. Through him, the universe now spoke to others who stood where he once had, at the threshold of their own transformation, waiting for the courage to say yes. Sacred practice. Take a moment now in silence. Allow your breath to settle. What has your soul been gently nudging you toward? What invitation have you been refusing out of fear? Write it down with complete honesty. Then, standing tall, speak these words with the full power of your being. I say yes. Feel the vibration of these words in your body. They are more than sounds. They are keys, turning in ancient locks, opening pathways that have waited for this precise moment of your awakening. Chapter 24. The Divine Dance. In a sunlit studio, Lois gripped her dance partner's hand with determination, her jaw set tight as she counted each step. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, she muttered, forcing her way through the waltz. For years, she had approached dance as she approached life, with rigid precision and unyielding control. You too may recognize this pattern in your own life, the constant counting, measuring, planning. The exhausting effort to orchestrate every moment, every outcome. Yet the universe moves not in straight lines but in spirals and waves. Close your eyes, her partner whispered one day. Stop counting. Feel the music in your bones. As Lois surrendered her grip on perfection, something magical occurred. The dance transformed from mechanical steps into flowing grace. Her body knew where to move without her mind's interference. This is the sacred truth of co-creation. It is not about forcing your will upon the universe, but about entering into divine partnership. When you release the need to lead every moment, you discover the joy of being led by something greater than yourself. Years later, Lois stood in her living room with her young granddaughter. No music played, yet Lois took the child's hands in hers. But Grandma, the girl said, how can we dance without music? The music is always playing, Lois smiled. We just have to remember how to hear it. As they began to move, something extraordinary happened. Both could sense a melody weaving through the silence, guiding their steps in perfect harmony. This sacred dance with the universe requires no external rhythm. The divine music plays eternally in the space between heartbeats, in the pause between breaths. Your soul knows this song. It has never forgotten how to dance to it, like a river flowing to the sea, like stars wheeling across the night sky. You are already moving in perfect synchronicity with the cosmic dance. When you release your need to control the steps, to orchestrate every movement, you discover that you have always been part of this grand celestial waltz. The universe leads and you follow in a partnership as old as time itself. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you feel safe to move freely. Stand in silence with your eyes closed. Place one hand over your heart. Begin to sway gently, allowing your body to move without direction or purpose. Trust the wisdom that lives in your cells. Let your movement arise naturally, following whatever impulse emerges. There is no right or wrong way to flow. Your body remembers the rhythm of creation. It needs only your permission to express it. Chapter 25. The Mirror of Abundance. In a small village where cobblestones whispered ancient stories, Samuel crafted shoes with loving attention, each stitch a prayer of service. One cold morning, a traveler entered his shop, feet wrapped in tattered cloth. Without hesitation, Samuel offered his final masterpiece, boots he'd labored over for weeks, knowing they would fetch a premium price. You see, the universe speaks through your hands when they open in generosity. It sings through choices made not from lack, but from the knowing that abundance flows endlessly when we become its channel. The traveler wept, clasping the boots to his chest. I cannot pay, he whispered. You already have, Samuel replied, understanding a truth beyond commerce, that wealth multiplies not through hoarding, but through circulation. Within days, word spread of Samuel's craftsmanship and compassion. Orders poured in from neighboring towns, more than his small shop had ever known. The universe had witnessed his trust and responded in kind, for this is the way of divine economy. What flows out returns multiplied. Yet the deeper teaching revealed itself when Samuel received a familiar pair of boots for repair. Lodged in the sole was a golden coin, one he recognized from his grandfather's collection, lost years before. In that moment you understand, as Samuel did, nothing given in love is ever truly lost. The universe creates circles where human eyes see only straight lines. This law remains unshaken through ages. Abundance dwells not in what you possess, but in your relationship to the infinite flow. When you give from a space of knowing rather than lacking, you align with the very current of creation. Your generosity becomes not sacrifice but celebration, an acknowledgement that you are one with the source of all provision. In this sacred dance of giving and receiving, you become a vessel through which divine abundance flows freely. The ancient masters understood this profound truth, that true wealth manifests when you release your grip on scarcity and embrace the eternal rhythm of universal exchange. For in giving, you do not diminish your own store, but rather open wider the channels through which prosperity flows. Sacred practice. Choose this day to give something meaningful, perhaps money, time, or attention, but give differently than before. Give not from duty or lack, but from the quiet knowing that you are abundance itself in motion. As you give, whisper inwardly, I give because I am infinite. I give because I am full. Then release all expectations of return, knowing the universe's response is already in motion. Chapter 26, The Power of the Spoken Word. A young girl named Rose carried within her words that sometimes caught like birds in a gentle breeze. In her grandmother's garden, where moonflowers bloomed at twilight, the elder woman took her small hands and spoke a truth that would alter her path forever. You possess within you the same creative force that birthed stars. Your words, whether flowing smooth or dancing in stutters, carry the power to shape reality itself. Each syllable you speak sends ripples through the fabric of creation. When you utter a word, you're not merely communicating, you are commanding the very field of infinite possibility. Every thought expressed becomes a seed planted in the cosmic garden. Your grandmother understood this ancient wisdom, as did the mystics and sages who came before. Years passed, and Rose discovered that her seeming limitation was actually an initiation. Each pause between her words became a sacred space where power gathered. Her stutters transformed into natural rhythms like waves upon the shore of consciousness. In time, she found herself leading ceremonies where strangers gathered to hear her voice. As she chanted, tears would flow freely down their faces, not because of perfect speech, but because each word carried the weight of truth, the resonance of soul speaking to soul. This mirrors your own journey with the power of the spoken word. Every utterance is an incantation. Every whispered intention, a spell cast into the universe. When you speak from this knowing, reality itself begins to shift and align with your deepest truth. The ancient masters understood this sacred relationship between thought, word, and manifestation. Like Rose, you must learn to treasure the spaces between words, for in that silence dwells infinite potential. Your voice, whether steady or trembling, carries the vibration of your soul's purpose. When you honor each syllable as a bridge between the seen and unseen realms, you tap into the primal force that has shaped worlds since time immemorial. Sacred practice. Take a glass of water and hold it with both hands. Bring it close to your lips and whisper these words with pure intention. My words are sacred. My voice creates worlds. Then drink deeply, allowing this truth to merge with your very being. The water becomes a carrier of this divine remembrance, activating the creative power of your voice at the cellular level. Chapter 27. The Flame That Cannot Be Put Out. You are now discovering one of the most sacred mysteries held within the ancient teachings, the divine nature of true desire. Let us begin with the tale of Russell, whose story mirrors the journey of every soul called to create. In a small workshop lit by a single lamp, Russell labored night after night over his inventions. 100 failures littered his workspace, each one a testament to his unwavering devotion to a vision that burned within his heart. Though others urged him to surrender this dream, something deeper than reason kept pulling him forward. What you must understand is that genuine desire, the kind that persists through failure and doubt, is not born of ego's wanting. It is a sacred signal, a divine blueprint encoded in your very soul. When a vision refuses to leave you, when it whispers to you in the depths of night, it carries the signature of spiritual destiny. Russell's breakthrough came not through force or desperate effort, but through surrender to joy. One evening, releasing all need to prove his worth, he simply allowed himself to create for the pure pleasure of creation. In that moment of alignment, everything shifted. His hands moved with intuitive grace, guided by something greater than himself. The invention that had eluded him for so long emerged naturally, as if it had been waiting for him to remember this truth. This tale illuminates a profound principle. Your persistent desires are not random longings. They are divine instructions. The universe plants these seeds within you as coordinates for your spiritual journey. When you honor them as sacred, you align with the current of creation itself. These deepest yearnings speak in whispers of possibility, guiding you toward your highest expression. Like ancient mariners following the stars, your authentic desires serve as celestial markers, revealing the path that was written in your soul before time began. Each burning aspiration carries within it the very power needed for its fulfillment, waiting only for you to recognize its sacred nature and nurture it with unwavering faith. Sacred practice. Take a moment now to sit in silence. Bring to mind that one desire that has never left you, the one that persists despite all logic or circumstance. Write it down with reverence, as if transcribing a message from the divine. Place your hand over these words and whisper, "This desire lives in me because it is meant for me. I honor it as holy." Keep this written desire on your altar or in a sacred space, treating it not as a wish to be granted, but as a divine appointment already set in motion. Chapter 28. The Sacred Witness. A gentle morning light spilled through Florence's window as she lifted her camera, focusing not on the grand or spectacular, but on the quiet poetry of everyday life. Her lens found beauty in places others passed without notice, dewdrops on a spider's web, the way shadows danced on weathered brick, the subtle grace in an elderly woman's hands as she watered her plants. You see, perception shapes reality. When Florence began photographing these ordinary moments, something extraordinary happened. She herself began to transform. With each click of her shutter, she stepped further from judgment and deeper into pure awareness. This is the sacred art of witnessing. The universe whispers this truth. You are not the thoughts that cloud your mind, nor the doubts that shake your confidence, nor even the story you've carried for so long. You are the eternal witness, the consciousness that observes it all. From this witness state flows your true creative power. Here lies your freedom to choose anew, to see with unclouded eyes, to create from pure presence. One morning, Florence discovered her beloved camera had been stolen. Yet instead of despair, she felt a curious lightness. She continued her practice of seeing, now without any device between her and the world. Her eyes became the lens, her heart the shutter, her soul the film. In losing her tool, she found an even deeper truth. Presence needs no accessories. It is your natural state of being. This moment holds an invitation, one that beckons from the depths of your eternal being. You need not wait for perfect circumstances to access your witness consciousness. It lives in you now, as it always has, waiting to be remembered, like a treasure buried in the soil of your soul. This awareness, this sacred observer within, remains constant through all the changes life brings. It is your birthright, your truest nature, available whenever you turn your attention inward and recognize what has been there all along. Sacred practice, the witness meditation. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed and settle into stillness. Let your body find its natural position of comfort and ease. For 5 minutes, simply observe whatever arises in your field of awareness, thoughts floating like clouds across your mind, physical sensations rippling through your body, sounds drifting in from near and far, without labeling or judging any of it. Don't try to change anything you notice. Don't name or categorize what appears, simply witness with gentle attention, like a mirror reflecting all that passes before it. Let everything be exactly as it is, allowing each moment to unfold naturally in your awareness. This is your true nature expressing itself, the pure, limitless consciousness that holds all experience in its loving embrace, eternally present beneath the surface of ordinary perception. Chapter 29, The Golden Thread of Faith. In a small village among rolling hills, a violinist named Archie faced what many would call the end of his dream. As the last echoes of sound faded from his world, he stood before his violin, feeling its smooth wooden curves beneath his fingertips. Where others saw tragedy, he discovered a deeper truth. You see, music transcends mere sound. It pulses through the heart, resonates in bone and spirit. When Archie first placed his violin against his chest after losing his hearing, he felt the vibrations speak directly to his soul. Each note trembled through his being, reminding him that the universe communicates in frequencies beyond human ears. Faith is not blind belief. It is knowing beyond seeing. It is the invisible thread that connects you to the divine plan, even when your physical senses cannot perceive it. Just as Archie trusted the music that lived within him, you too are called to trust the unseen orchestration of your life. In the depths of his silence, Archie continued performing. His fingers danced across strings, guided by memory and vibration. Audiences wept, moved not just by the music, but by the pure faith before them. Through his surrender to trust, he touched something eternal. Years passed in sacred silence until one morning, while playing his beloved violin, Archie heard a single, crystal-clear note. It rang through his consciousness like a bell of awakening, piercing the veil between worlds. Over the following days, more notes returned, one by one, like stars appearing at dusk, each a divine gift bestowed through patience and devotion. The melody of his soul, once muted, began to sing again with renewed vibrancy. This was not a medical miracle, but a testament to unwavering faith, a demonstration of the eternal truth that what you seek is also seeking you. When you hold fast to trust, the impossible transforms into the inevitable, for the universe conspires to manifest what your heart knows to be true. Sacred practice, the golden thread. Sit quietly and close your eyes. Imagine a golden thread of light extending from your heart into the infinite. This is your connection to divine trust. Feel its warmth, its strength, its constancy. No matter what storms arise in your life, this thread remains unbroken. Hold it now in your mind's eye. Let it remind you that you are always connected, always guided, always held in the embrace of sacred trust. Carry this image with you, especially in moments when faith feels distant. The thread is always there, pulsing with divine light, anchoring you to truth. Chapter 30, The Unveiling. In the stillness of dawn, Martha sat before a pile of her old journals, decades of searching captured in countless chapters. You too have filled volumes with your seeking, haven't you? But wisdom often arrives in the spaces between words, in the silence that holds all possibility. Watch as Martha strikes a match. The flames consume her written past, not in destruction, but in sacred release. Every word she ever wrote was leading to this moment of profound simplicity. You see, the universe speaks most clearly through simplicity, through the truth that requires no explanation. In her new journal, pristine and waiting, Martha writes only 2 words: I am. These words contain universes. They are not a beginning, but a remembering. You have always been what you seek. The power you've searched for lives in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the quiet certainty of your being. When you strip away all the stories, all the seeking, all the striving, what remains? Only this: I am. It is both the question and the answer, the journey and the destination. In a temple of ancient stone, Martha stands alone. The air is thick with centuries of prayers and revelations. She opens her mouth and says those sacred words, I am. The sound ripples through empty space, returning as thunder. But the thunder isn't in the temple. It's the resonance of truth in her own heart, in yours. This is the final teaching, though it was present from the first page. You are not separate from the divine. You are not reaching for something distant. You are the miracle you've been waiting for, the teacher you've been seeking, the light you've been following. Sacred practice, the mirror ceremony. Find a quiet space with a mirror. Light a candle if you wish. Look deeply into your own eyes, not searching, but recognizing. Let your gaze soften until you see beyond the surface, beyond the familiar reflection. Then speak these words aloud. I remember. I am the one I was waiting for. Let the words echo in your heart. Let them remind you of what you've always known. You are not becoming, you are remembering. You are not seeking, you are finding yourself. In this moment of recognition, the journey of 1,000 chapters becomes a single truth. I am. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through these sacred chapters, you have journeyed not to a destination but to an awakening. Each teaching, each practice, each moment of revelation has been a key turning in the lock of your consciousness. What has been remembered cannot be forgotten. What has been awakened cannot return to sleep. You stand now at the threshold of embodiment. The wisdom you've uncovered isn't meant to remain within these chapters. It lives in you, breathes through you, moves as you move. Every step you take carries this frequency of remembrance. Every word you speak ripples with this knowing. Every gesture extends this light. The practices given are not mere exercises. They are the sacred rhythms of your new existence. They will continue to deepen, to expand, to reveal more of what has always been true. The universe will speak to you more clearly now, for you have learned its language. Signs and synchronicities will multiply, for you have remembered how to see. You were drawn to this knowledge because you were ready to carry it. Your presence alone will now awaken others. They will sense the shift in your energy, the certainty in your silence, the power in your peace. Without effort, you will become a bridge for others to cross into their own remembering. Walk forward now, knowing that every breath you take is a prayer, every moment an opportunity for miracle, every encounter a chance to share this light. You are no longer searching. You have become what you sought. The divine that you honored in these teachings now moves as you, speaks as you, loves through you. This is not an ending, it is the first breath of your authentic existence. Everything that came before was preparation for this moment of embodiment. You are truth-walking, wisdom-breathing, love-expressing. The sacred text continues through your living. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.